ESPR, Ecodesign for Sustainable Product Regulation, is a new European regulation adopted in 2024 that establishes the regulatory framework to make all European products environmentally sustainable. The regulation does not impose specific numerical values, but assigns the task of defining specific criteria to delegated acts. These acts are based on preparatory studies and impact analyses, technical consultations, and assessments of technical and economic feasibility, and are currently in the design phase. But how did the ESPR come about? The first Ecodesign directive was issued, called 2005-32/EC, with the aim of improving the environmental performance of products that consume energy, such as household appliances and lighting. In 2009, the directive was extended to include energy-related products as well, meaning those that influence energy consumption, such as windows, faucets, or pumps. This is Directive 2009-25/EC, which for more than a decade defined the minimum environmental criteria to be met in European industrial design. The European Green Deal, starting in 2019, and the Circular Economy Action Plan, launched in 2020, have placed the goal of environmental sustainability at the heart of industrial policies. This is where the ESPR comes in, a regulation that goes beyond the sectoral approach of the old directive and introduces a single cross-cutting framework for all products placed on the European market. The underlying premise is that sustainability becomes a minimum technical design requirement and therefore cannot be left solely to the individual choices of designers or companies. For this reason, the ESPR sets out a series of environmental requirements for eco-friendly design and introduces information and documentation obligations through the use of new tools such as the Digital Product Passport. It extends the scope to all physical products, going beyond the energy-related focus of the previous directive, and coordinates existing regulatory tools such as REACH, RoHS, the battery regulation, or packaging, just to name a few, avoiding overlaps and ensuring consistency. From a regulatory perspective, environmental sustainability is treated as a technical property of the product on par with electrical safety or mechanical compatibility. Specifically, Article 5 of the ESPR regulation lists a series of environmental aspects that include the main characteristics and qualities of the product. Companies will be required to demonstrate the compliance of their products through assessment procedures that may include technical tests, documentation, self-certification, or third-party verifications. The environmental aspects to be improved as indicated by the ESPR are durability, meaning the product's ability to maintain its performance under normal use conditions for an extended period. Reliability, that is, the ability to maintain functions and performance under certain use conditions for a specified period of time. Reusability, the potential for product improvement. Reparability, meaning the accessibility of components, the availability of instructions and spare parts, and the possibility of disassembly without damage. The possibility of maintenance and refurbishment by anticipating and simplifying such operations, the absence and reduction of substances of concern such as carcinogenic, toxic, or bioaccumulative substances, just to name a few, energy consumption and energy efficiency, water use and water efficiency, resource use and resource efficiency, recycled content, the potential for remanufacturing, that is, actions by which a new product is obtained from objects that are waste, from products or from components. Recyclability, meaning design aimed at recycling at end of life. The possibility of material recovery. Environmental impacts. Therefore, the obligation to calculate multi-indicator environmental impact through LCA and to communicate it, possibly with minimum performance thresholds, and the expected production of waste. A further element of control concerns the management of unsold goods. Large companies will be required to avoid the systematic destruction of unsold products, to publish annually data on the number, weight, reasons for destruction, and treatment of discarded goods, and to comply with an explicit ban on destruction for certain product categories such as clothing and footwear. These measures are intended to make the final stages of the commercial life cycle traceable as well, thereby discouraging practices with a high environmental impact. The ESPR then introduces the Digital Product Passport, or DPP, an important tool to improve the traceability, transparency, and accessibility of environmental information related to products. It is a standardized digital system that collects and makes available specific data on the product's life cycle and environmental performance and is linked to a unique identifier. The goal is to ensure that environmental information is verifiable to support market surveillance activities, accessible to consumers, repairers, recyclers, and distributors, usable to enable new practices in design, maintenance, and recycling. The requirements set out by the ESPR do not introduce radically new concepts for those involved in ecodesign. On the contrary, they directly correspond to many of the strategies already known and used in life cycle design, such as minimizing material consumption, minimizing energy consumption, minimizing the toxicity and harmfulness of resources, optimizing the renewability and biocompatibility of resources, optimizing product lifespan, extending the life of materials, and facilitating disassembly. What are the implications for designers and companies? The introduction of the ESPR changes the operational framework within which companies and designers make decisions. It involves rethinking the entire approach to design and product development, no longer considering only the performance aspects of the product, but also its low environmental impact. For companies, this means integrating measurable environmental requirements, documentary obligations, and technical constraints. Every new product line will have to be designed not only to function, but also to demonstrate environmental compliance. This scenario opens up broad areas for innovation and gives companies and designers the opportunity to find new ways to achieve low environmental impact goals and to build a competitive advantage. In conclusion, the ESPR represents a significant change in product regulation within the European Union. In fact, it establishes a regulatory framework that integrates sustainability as a central element in the design and production of goods. The ESPR aims to be a catalyst for sustainable innovation, driving design that takes into account the entire product life cycle and promotes a more responsible economy with a lower environmental impact.